So there is a process of how you think, how you create, how you present.
And this is not a design job. This is not a marketing job. This
It's
is
a
not
feeling job. So the association of food selling not only about good looking food. It's not saying, oh, my tandoori chicken is better. For that, you have 20
Yeah.
people to do it. But to bring those associations, get a brand to sell and perceive you constantly as like that.
It is it is a strategic,
Yeah, it's very
very strategic,
emo strategic.
strategic.
Therefore, you find so many brands which have become a habit because they are emo strategic to your life.
Welcome to Will Talks. Today we have an incredible gentleman, an award-winning hotelier, restaurateur, chef, food connoisseur, and now an absolutely mind-blowing and stunning food stylist. That's right, you heard me. It's food styling. Super niche in India. While I was talking to the gentleman, he told me that there were probably just 20 of the, food stylists in India, and in a country where we have over 1 billion people. So today we're going to unbundle everything about hospitality, restaurants, running your own business, entering the hospitality industry, and more specifically about food styling. We have with us today Mr. Nitin Tandon. Thank you for joining us. How are you feeling today?
Oh, awesome. Very few people really talk about food styling. I know it's the hottest thing right now to talk about food photography and making food look good. But who's going to make it look good? Pizza's just not going to pop up there looking good, right? Somebody got to do something to it. So I'm so happy to be here so I can put my bit in. And I'll take off by saying it's a very ustad style artistry. I know everything and you know nothing.
Yes.
And I shall not teach you anything.
I love that because that's when I get genuinely curious about this. And I love the way that you're saying it is art. It is expression. I remember when I was talking to a photographer, he was telling me, photography दो टाइप का होता है. एक होता है criminal photography. जो हुआ वही दिखाओ. वही देखना है. No change, no different perspectives. And the other one is a photographer taking a photograph. He's showing what he is seeing.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that is a difference. Is there some similarities with food styling?
I think so. It's like many layers, and I'll also, along with you, discover the art. Because for me, when I started this career, it was nothing but making food look good. And nothing more than that. Oh, there's beautiful. My career started as almost filling up an entire refrigerator full of food so that brand could sell the refrigerator. And they had done a research, and the research said, if the refrigerator is completely packed with food, the refrigerator will sell more in Kerala, Goa, because that's the survey. So I said, oh my God. So it was packed inch to inch. It took me, I started in the morning at 9. By 4 o'clock, when I turned around, it was time for evening tea. And then I said, what is here? There is something more than just making the dish look lovely. This dish, its meaning is selling something, right? And then my journey unveiled from the dish looking good. And I had this guy, I did Taj, and then I was the chef from Oberoi's, and I had a couple of chips on my shoulder. Any room I used to go, I used to say, I know it all types. Used to get this lazy looking into the eye kind of advertising boys. Okay, one more, right? And they'll say, we're not here for your good looking food. We are here to sell something with your good looking food. And if that food doesn't look the way we want it to be perceived, then it's not good looking. I said, oh my God. So the idea slowly moved from the dish looking good as to how this dish will sell. And right from the journey of Shiv Sagar pizza with Amul cheese to the cheese getting stretched with mozzarella is like education journey for the market, right?
Yeah.
People started, when the first pizza came in, they were scratching कि अच्छा pizza ऐसा होता है क्या? So it took me back to the fact that Colgate must have taken a journey of education to India to टेल देम अभी दंत मंजन मत इस्तेमाल करो, टूथपेस्ट को ऐसा ब्रश करते हैं. सो दैट आई maybe I was like first batch in 90s. There was no food stylist.
No food.
There's no food stylist.
Zero.
No, zero food stylist. So art director will come. He will dress curtains, table,
And the idli.
chair, and then he will decorate idli as well. So till they said, we can't manage this. We don't know this. So we chefs came and said, this is wrong. So they said, what's wrong? We can't see anything wrong in this. So I remember this very big brand, and they sent me a list. We want to shoot this. And those times there was no internet. So everything came out of a black book.
So what kind of list would that be like? Just
So if it's a refrigerator, this all has to be in the refrigerator.
Acha, like things inside the refrigerator.
What you have to stack. So there's this big brand, and I was using all their equipment in the hotel, extremely big. But during the journey of the game, the logic or common has moved away. So he's saying that we want this beautiful shot of the freezer with lettuce in it. I said, but lettuce can never be frozen. So our director is saying, but wo green dikhega to we will get the nature feeling. I said, but they're technically wrong, right? Oh, he said, yeah. So okay, we'll put apples. So I said, apples also cannot be frozen. So he said, then what do you freeze? I said, with my small knowledge, in the 90s, the only thing you freeze is green peas.
Green peas? Yeah.
So he said, how is green peas going to look beautiful? I said, now we have a problem.
Wow.
Which needs a solution. Right?
Wow.
So then we went back, and Blue Star was the brand. They told us the most frozen vegetable in India is carrot and green peas. So whatever artistry you want to do between green peas and carrots.
This is amazing because you're saying that these companies and the way food is shown changes culture.
Yes.
It changes behavior. Because imagine if you started putting lettuce in that ad, half of India would be freezing their lettuce.
Yes. So you are educating, right? You have that social responsibility. And quickly, we jump to the largest part of food styling for advertising. You are making fake food, and not for the fact that the chicken is made out of rubber or anything else. The food is genuine, but how it is cooked, and then there are a lot of fake happening. And you have to be in a creative room to see 6, 7 diverse minds and how they'll see milk. It is crazy. So while the entire
Give me an example.
like
Tell me
if
anything that comes from memory.
No. So if you go into a room and they'll say, "Ab kya hai? I saw this ad for say gas or petrol or some liquid. The liquid is moving like this, and it is coming, and then it is becoming, and then it's the world of the whole thing is turning around. चलो इसको milk में कर देते हैं. So the बच्चा is there, and we'll show the first shot. We'll enter his eye, and the eye will burst, and then he sees this Switzerland cow or Swiss cow, and then the cows are doing ma, and so they'll build such a beautiful story, and they'll take milk, and by the end, you will be in a dynamically different world with the child maybe being enrobed with milk. And when we're shooting, we're using Fevicol. That's a different thing.
But this is neurology. This is the neuroscience of it.
So I always, when I meet people, I said, everything you want to know about food is already there in you. All I have to do is plug a emotion. That switches are already there. Don't tell me that when you're talking to me and you're imagining in some Sanskrit or you're typeset with some French language. You are filled with pictures. Your mind are constantly filled with pictures. All I have to do is I have to bring the picture in front. And maybe I have to combine 3 pictures, 2 emotions. So masala mix of a new recipe.
Yeah. But you know what I'm realizing? I'm shopping for what I want to eat with my eyes today. When I go to one of these apps and I start scrolling,
yes,
I don't even look at the restaurant ka naam. I'm looking at the images of the food. So has that changed now?
So it's completely changed. I feel that you see more than you read. right? So we used to play those games when we were children. Somebody will come and ask you, "Kaise jana hai?" सीधा जाके left lane, and you're showing right. So the image is directing you so much. Me being a food stylist, me being part of this game, me being part of branding, me part of so much creation. When I'm shopping myself, I'm also submerged with thousands of images of food packet. And then if buying it at certain point, saying that this is just the depiction of it. Your burger when you open will never be like that. Your Maggie noodle will not be 2 minutes. So, but the perception helps. There is truth to it. Thank God our industry is pretty regulated, self-regulation most of the time, that all these brands have built monopolistically, right? So if you look at Maggie in India, when they launched, who was there? There was nobody. They chose a different distribution channel. They chose the most easiest recipe. Noodle was one of the most easiest eaten. And they made 2 minutes. And your panwala had it.
Yeah.
Then after that, they figured out everybody has their own recipe. So they made a cult out of it.
Apna wala Maggie.
So it became Apna Wala Maggie. So if you look at Zomato, Swiggy today, the most sold dish on any menu today, 2 years back was khichdi, now biryani is trending, and 4 years back it was pizza.
Oh.
So the most ordered dish nationwide. That's all happening because of that education, because of the banking. And today, Bero's Biryani is the world's largest biryani restaurant.
What?
It is just because of the imagery. Where is one physical restaurant that you have seen? Where is...
I remember the photograph. I saw
it's a big...
copper ka thali or whatever. You know,
And I'll tell you one thing.
with steam coming out of it.
And when the first time Beros came, it was an experiment. They came to us. They said, I said, kya hai? We're launching, we are Fazuz, we are selling millions of wraps, but biryani bechne ka hai. We have this fabulous recipe which we have figured out. So I said, okay, we'll give you one day shoot. You create whatever. We don't have creative agency. It's an experiment. We'll try it in 4 or 5 locations. If they do, we'll launch this brand. I said, wow. He said, every 2-3 months we do this. I said, you're popping like Chinese restaurants, pizza brands, like popcorn. So I said, okay, let's do the biryani. So we sent them. So there is a process of how you think, how you create, how you present.
This is not a design job. This is not a marketing job.
It's a feeling job.
Like you cannot, in terms of roles and jobs in a company, for example, it is not a marketer's job or a salesman's job or a business development guy's job or a designer's job. I mean, commercial artist's job. This is a different job altogether. This is somebody who's combining the customer psyche
into a image
and business goal.
So,
and fighting with culture and habit.
And
combining photography.
If you look at Ajinomoto, and Ajinomoto is...
I know.
It's like...
China salt.
But if you go and look at Ajinomoto...
Sodium glutamate. Yeah.
It's supposed to be bad for health, blah, 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 blah. But if you go to Japan...
Everyone's having.
Ajinomoto makes about 1,000 products.
Oh.
And we, all our life, have only seen that monosodium glutamate, MSG. So, brands, when they move across the world, their acceptance is very, very, very culture united. So, if you go to Starbucks, and if it's in Asia or Japan, and they don't have matcha coffee, they're done for.
Yeah.
And if matcha coffee came to India, 2 cups will sell in 3 days maybe. Right?
That green thing.
We can't understand it. So I think so. Every food is that mom thing, habit thing, association to something. Like the moment it will rain, you'll talk about pakoda and malpua.
Onion pakoda chai ke saath, you know.
Why? Yeah. It's that association, right?
It's a trigger, right? That emotional
so
trigger.
It's already there.
Trigger.
I don't need to go and if I take you down the grill room and you look at red tikka, you'll say, Indian guy will say chicken tikka, American will say this is peri peri, African guy will say this is peri peri barbecue chicken, somebody will call it barbecue chicken. You take it to Asia, the same thing will become satay, somebody will call it yakitori. So it's the same dish.
Yeah.
Either it's cured differently or it's cut differently, the masala. But the thing is, you're marinating the chicken. It's red in color. But every guy you put into that room, you can connect him with an image. His choices. So, masking minds, where you tell, "Ki, let's prepare a dish, but it should look more like that. So that people perceive it. So, let's look at KFC biryani.
KFC biryani.
So KFC does biryani.
They have a rice bowl, right?
So they have a rice bowl, which now they made biryani bowl. So it's which they have a awesome yellow rice. They had the biryani mix and they put a fried chicken on top. My version of biryani, right? So if you go to Sri Lanka, he'll sell the same dish with his masala mix and call it maybe sambal rice or whatever.
Sambal, yeah.
Yes. So for them, it's the same thing. It's only that perception. So they always
Localization.
and so when you're doing that, so that's where styling starts. What are you pulling out of what cult? What are you taking the habit? What is the perception you're giving this product category? And for the larger brands, which have say maybe 2,000 stores, 3,000 stores, if one product kind of takes off, okay, and let's say that product got sold 100 pieces per day. Multiply by, and became their signature program. And it couldn't come out of simplicity. So McDonald's did 7 rupees
Yeah.
cone.
Yeah, they did the Maxwell or whatever.
Maxwell. So Maxwell became the launch product, right?
Softy.
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 So they bought Softy back to your heart. They took the Softy and they gave it such a awesome feeling. Soft serve. So Bandra store in Bombay, when they opened, first day sale of just the Softy was 7,000 Softies.
God.
So there were people are not lining up for the burger. They are lining up for 7 rupees. They made you associate the brand to a lesser price point. They made you associate it to sweetness of life. Then you go there and you say, because we were not used to eating
Softies.
burger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we
just heard of burger.
We are a idli,
Paratha joint.
Dosa.
So the first ad I remember doing for McDonald's, our burger buns are softest, our fish are the most tastiest, blah, blah. Still people didn't understand. And then we went into a meeting room. I remember going into a meeting room and they said, we do combos. So what we do is, to American,
burgers.
we take a burger, we sell them a fries, we give them a drink. It's called a combo. So and one guy in the room, what did he say? Ye to thali hai. So we shot the burger in a small stainless steel thali.
Oh.
So we put the burger there, we put the French fries there, and we put the glass. I said, McDonald's comes to India. So the association of food selling not only about good looking food. It's not saying, oh, my tandoori chicken is better. For that, you have 20 people to do it. But to bring those associations, get a brand to sell and perceive you constantly as like that.
It is it is a strategic.
Yeah, it's very
strategic.
Emo strategic.
Strategic.
Therefore, you find so many brands which have become a habit because they are emo strategic to your life. They become part.
Food.
They become part of you.
They become
You tell me I'll go to any part of the world and at the 5th day, 6th day, you are tired of.
You want to eat your dal.
You want to eat your dal chawal.
You snap back to default.
So I went to do a shoot in Bangkok. First time, like lot of Pakistan shoot.
What a food scene in Bangkok. Huh? The street food scene.
The team was there for about 10, 12 days shooting. And now I'm talking in the early 90s. They were crying. They said, we can't eat this Thai food every day. We are getting tired. So they said, who are you? I said, I'm a food stylist. Now I was warned at that time that you will not get any
Indian
food. And I was doing tikka and biryani, and so we carried everything from here. So part of that, in those years, I met a friend. He said there is something called, you can carry bulk packs of dal, palak. So if you're not going on the shoot and you get
Sick. Homesick.
no, you
Homesick.
get no. If the dish is not ready, all you can do is cut the dal rather than sitting and. I said, great idea. I'm now talking in 90s, and the shoot happened. Few packets got left. So on the last day, we were shooting. On the second last day, I opened kali dal, and there was some pulao or in it.
Jeera.
Oh no, I made the jeera rice. I remember.
Jeera rice.
And pulao and aloo matar. Aloo matar. Full shoot that trying to find the table where we are serving this. So that is how food is going to.
It magnetic.
Yes, magnetic.
Magnetic.
And I met a guy, the same model who shot in that shoot. I met him a year later. And guess how I'm getting introduced on the set? Saying this is the guy who gave me Indian food in Bangkok.
Oh,
So food has a very deep meaning. Food
very personal.
is very personal. And
मम्मी की याद आती है,
हाँ,
पापा की याद आती
yes.
है.
So
इसके
how
हाथों का खाना.
how does a brand which is sitting in a factory thousands and thousands of miles away from your home, making a food bring emotion to you buying it and enjoying it? Are you saying that every packet has tasty food in it?
No.
Right? And everybody's idea of taste is different.
Yeah.
So what is selling is the feeling.
But happiness is the same for everyone.
Yes, and that is happiness is common. for
Is
it.
common for it. Oh, that
And-
is
and-
inside, boss.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
is inside, and it is
happiness
common
सबके लिए
sense.
सही है.
But that is common sense, but we commonly
Yeah,
do not
we ignore
present.
it. Yeah. So we're always trying to like push the wrong thing. So why don't you unpack this for maybe some of the students who may watch this program? For example, like what exactly is food styling? What does your day look like? What does a client ask you to do? And then how do you go about doing it? आप करते क्या हो exact detail में? If you can shed
So
that
if
some light on that, it'd be really nice.
So if I say that you're like a heart surgeon to that food, or so a studio day is not like just the day, it's just the day of execution. But understanding, so initially we were told, ऐसा है, ऐसा करना है, वैसा करना है. Then when the world of advertising got larger, then we were asked because of the experience. And also part of that journey is to understand what that food means to your life. What is the competition doing? What are the colors? What are the way this is presented will feel to
All this is
somebody.
research. Huh?
And then you have to study all
before
this.
the shoot.
Yeah, for days. Then you will present to the creative person that we feel that Kali Dal should be associated like that. So Kali Dal, let's say, is association with ITC will be very chef-based because they're a chef-based brand and they work more on heritage. So we'll use the rule of 5. What are the 5 key things out of which you want to send a message? And what are the brand 5 values that you want? So in that journey, I started learning branding. I didn't even know that there was a concept called branding. Then after that, we started looking at the textural and cultural, because if I'm having this packet, I can't print 6 packets for India. You may have Kali Dal with chawal in Punjab. Somebody will eat it with puri. Somebody will eat it with paratha. Somebody will eat it with chapati. So if you say that अभी ये काली दाल के साथ चावल कैसा खिला रहे हैं, हम लोग तो कभी खाता ही नहीं है, ये तो डिश ही रॉन्ग है. So even that is to be studied. And now is this Kali Dal positioned as a to-go Kali Dal for a student? Just snap the packet and eat it. So that time I'm just showing fun. I'm just showing ease. I'm showing food application. So I can't say that ye Shahi Khana. He's not interested.
Raja Maharaja.
Raja Maharaja. He'll say, forget it, dude.
Time nahi hai, boss.
Time nahi hai. I have to catch my next. And also, what happened, I don't know, you and me are very, we all got what you call, became world citizens. So
Geography is history.
geography is history. We all became world citizens. So we want to feel cool. We don't want to eat our kali dal. We don't want to eat our aloo matar because I better eat a aloo tikki burger, no, rather than if my mom asks me. Mom sees it as junk food. So how do you position this kind of food that is still as cool?
As cool. This is amazing
So-
because what I eat, I am saying कि मैं ये group को belong करता हूँ,
Yes.
ये tribe को belong करता हूँ, ये thought को belong करता
करता
हूँ.
हूँ.
And just while we were talking, this thing hit me. While every international brand is trying to bring garam chai, masala chai, is trying to bring tikki burger into their menu.
Yes.
Every local Indian restaurant who's damn good at the food is trying to do
So if you look at Japan and if you look at China, and even let's say I just came from Vietnam, they only the very, very strong cultures, even I consider very strong cultures, we managed to stay away from that universalization that you get bombarded by pizza, cheese. So there's strong culture to still preserve and eat ramen noodle
No, let me
and
understand
kali
this.
dal.
You're saying many of those cultures, Vietnam, China,
Yeah.
are you saying, wait, just for me to understand, those cultures which are strong were able to keep the westernized corporate chains out? For
No,
example, I heard
they're very strong.
In Philippines, McDonald's couldn't do even one shop because Jollibee was
Yeah, Jollibee was far.
McDonald's तो चलता ही नहीं.
No, so some cultures are so deep rooted. I think so. We are also very deep rooted, but we have to strongly understand that we may be. There are about 2,000 McDonald's in India, and let's say
2,000, huh?
yeah, lesser.
Is that a big number?
No, it's
for
a very,
India?
very small number. Very, very small number. They actually are not even 2,000. I'm just, Domino's is larger than McDonald's in India.
And that's still
Store
not large,
number.
right? I mean,
Very, very small number.
like for India, a large number would mean what? Like how many Udupi restaurants maybe there in Bombay?
So
I don't know.
I addressed the Shetty Association, as they call this. They said we are like totally listed some 10,000 plus. In Bombay, I'm talking. So if you just multiply, but there is no dosa company getting up in the morning and say, eat dosa. But there is the foreign brands
Cornflakes khao.
who every day are telling you. See, when Kellogg's came, until today, they are just a 600 crore brand. It's large. 600 is large. But in the context of
India, na?
consumption,
Market share क्या है? हाँ,
नहीं वो in compared to paratha,
खत्म. कुछ नहीं.
कुछ भी नहीं है.
चटनी जितना.
हाँ. Good sense of sizing. So, there is a responsibility for us in depiction, in as you say, people use sustainability, social responsibility. We are also social responsible. So we always very sensitive, and today advertising very sensitive to how we portray. So there is a lot of audit, creative audit, client audit, client's point of view to the brand. So these debates keep going on for a long, long time. Then we say, okay, this is the depiction. And then they know that the depiction is moving away from their office into a outside creative person's table, and he may fly with it. So sometimes they want you to fly with it, and sometimes they just want, but every time you have to provide that same message or the desired message. Then we get into, photographer will say, I'll use this kind of lighting. Somebody will say, so I remember doing a cookbook, okay, for Kangra. So I didn't even know where Kangra was. It's in Himachal, and when I went to Himachal, that food does not exist anymore. There is no restaurant you can go to. You have to go to somebody's house. It's like that.
Kangra Valley, right?
Yes, the Kangra Valley. So you're in Kangra Valley eating Punjabi food, and that guy is trying to say that, yeah, Kangra style. Come on, don't do this. So we did a lot of research.
You'll have to go into the homes
Yeah.
And you'll have to like.
So
And they
I
may
bet.
say, "Abhi ye jhad nahi mil raha hai. Ye
Can you
ingredient
tell me
nahi
what
mil-"
he told me? The Maharaj I cooked. He said, if you have come here, have you realized that there is no farmland? There is only the mountain. So I said, okay. And he said, it's cold. How are you expecting me to grow onion and tomato? So I said, yes, there is. He's saying, I get some onion, but I don't get tomato. So he said, the dal that we make here mostly is without onion tomato. I said, in my life, I've never cooked onion tomato ke bigger Indian food.
That's the base, no?
Base. So,
Onion gravy, tomato gravy.
so then I stayed there for in Dharamshala and then went 2 days. Then I figured that is a very silent space. For kilometers there are no people. Start getting worried. you know. So when we did the book, it had no brand, right? It has no brand. No brand is saying Britannia is not telling me. I said the book has to be very silent. And the book has to be very cold. And the light has to be from the mountain. So the author, she was from there. So she immediately understood. I said, you don't do anything. Just get the coldness of the stone in the book. So to create emotion, there is a science. And the science cannot come by referencing alone. It has to come by experiencing as well. And it has to come by you becoming a storyteller. You have no other choice but to be a storyteller. And way you want him to see it is coming in multitude layers. I'm still a student of that art. But every day I have to learn. Like my father, he was a film director. And one day he was working on a story with somebody. So he's saying, I'm writing a love story. So I said, I don't see you writing or telling him something, but that guy is writing something. So he's saying, I'm making a young story of these two college students and blah, blah, and I'm going to present this. So I said, then why? What is this guy saying? He's saying, my age is 60, that guy's age is 20. My idea of love is already 40 years old. He said, I have to learn how a 20-year-old thinks in this year because the 20-year-old in that year thought differently. So we all, in the experience of how life is seen, are constantly evolving and changing. So at one time, I did one ad and it stuck there in the magazine at Time of India or saw one ad and it was over, right? And used to tell us, I has to come home with a magazine and show my kids, I did this ad. Now that same ad has different platforms. So the platform decides the emotion. So like how you were talking to me, if it's a reel, it's 30 seconds and it has to be very candid, yet it should be advertorial. So you'll shoot for that separately. Then you'll do an influencer campaign separately. Then you will do a digi ad separately because the magnification is separate. The food will talk very differently in a 6-inch.
Because you're going
Right into, but the size is only 6 inch, right? Then you will make the similar ad with the same thoughts, maybe for TV and
different platforms and
so the platforms are deciding the
the
utility,
depth of the ad,
the depth of the
content and the depth of the
and you have to be very, very vivid about how it's getting consumed. So sometimes you have to end up doing nothing because the place is crowded, right?
yeah.
So that is also food styling.
So one thing that is coming to my mind now is that a lot of these students or a lot of people today who have phones, about 5 years ago, there was this joke on the internet saying every fellow with a camera phone feels like a photographer, in a way of speaking. And then there was this whole trend online on Instagram where people are putting their food photos. Okay. So what do you want to tell, let's say, people who who have a camera phone, take food photographs? What do you want to tell them about food
First, I want
styling?
to tell. First, I want to tell all the photographers sorry. Point number 2 is anything, and I'm quite sure you talk about artificial intelligence. But what is it doing? It's trying to systemize and replicate through algos or software. Design is a very personal story. You can't put 7 templates of design thinking. Now, and to everybody, food is very personal. It no more is a phone with a camera. It's a camera with a phone. That's the stage we are at. And if you look at the techno daddies, they made everything super simple. So you'll go and say, hey, we'll shoot you now. We'll give you a vintage look. You dress up with your own wedding dress. I'll click you. And yeah, the vintage look will take you back 20 years, 30. So same thing you can do with food. And more than the food, people want to know as much how it got done. Not the recipe video. Back of the scene. How did you plan it? They are as intrigued.
So they are mostly focused now just on the photograph. So they need to go beyond that.
So
यहाँ तक
photograph,
कैसे पहुंचे आप?
yeah,
Is
and so
something
photograph videos, you see now we are at 5G, right?
Yeah.
When the real 5G will come into our lives, and
Then
speed
your
will
data
be
gets over in 5 minutes.
also, yeah, but you'll forget still imagery because you can upload a video so quickly. So you never think life in still, right? I'm enjoying a pizza. It's never like this. It's you pulling the stretch, you're enjoying it coming out. So videos will
Take over.
dominate. And that's why you see Facebook, you'll see Insta. They are very strong on video.
You see, they say YouTube is the biggest search engine now.
Yes.
And it's got only video.
So they are I have a very small slice of learning. YouTube is a proper running advertising agency TV. You throw 2 million pieces of content at the world, they'll start paying you for it. That is because they respect you as a content maker. We always said no in our time. Sorry, our time is I'm still there. Is like content is king.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be king. In what format you consume it will be awesome. So the phone is it. If you look at cinematic modes and portrait modes,
Yeah.
they are as good. Sorry, I'm just propagating iPhone. iPhone is now slow-mo rate is at 240. You cannot get half the cameras which have that speed. So what is going to happen? By the time you'll be using maybe iPhone 16, it will be actually a pro mode camera. It will be close to the cost of any professional camera because they said you can also speak with this.
Acha.
So that is the king. That is the consumer. The way you will see food will be different. And candidness, it's just the phase that I keep talking about. You and me saw films where people were dancing in gardens.
And going behind trees.
And going behind trees. Why does today's cinema not have it? It's only because we want to see the reality. We know this is not reality. Right?
Yeah.
You take me to sci-fi world, I'll know, okay, you're taking me to the future. But this is like total C, right? You don't want to consume or see that. So, same way is going to happen. So, food is going to take different avatars, different perception. Food, so there is something called blog photography where you put everything and make a big mess. So in advertising, we get scripts like that. We like this, we like the blog style, so it should be organized mess. I want to give that feeling of reality, but I want to be neat. Right? So on a film set, even the beggar gets new clothes.
Got it.
So-
In fact, I was listening to this one talk by Kishore Biani, and he was talking about how he designed
Yeah.
Food Bazaar,
Food hall.
Big Bazaar,
Yeah,
and all that.
big.
He designed it to be like a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Versus Hypercity.
Yes.
which was very high end, because the brand insight was Indians feel that what is like thoda pasara hua hai,
हाँ.
Indians feel it is cheaper.
Correct.
Versus something which is all neatly
correct.
dead
And that
light,
for me
पीछे से
is-
backlight, ऊपर से ये
So
वो.
for me that is also food styling only. So when people see the application of food styling, a culinary sees it as make plate बनाएगा, उसमें अच्छा small plate में big plate में small food डालेगा, and I'll photograph it, and in my class presentation I'll come first. But that is perceived unreality, because in real life it is not happening anymore like that.
Yeah. I
Even the restaurants are not serving anymore.
Correct. But I remember my wife, once I made spaghetti, and I told my wife, how does this look? She's like, well, it looks what it looks like, but I can make it look 5 times better than this. And I said, how? She took 90% out of the plate and put it on a white plate. She's like, presentation.
Yes,
Presentation is so important.
So
right?
supreme. And now presentation is getting combined with experience. So, and they talk about we used to get enthralled by that lava cake. You cut the lava cake and
it
the
just
chocolate
oozes out.
and then the ad shows up, but you get into the world of chocolate. So that's
Chocolate brain.
yeah. So you have a chocolate brain fog completely.
Yeah, melody itni chocolatey ki
I guess I do. When you look at it, you ask him, where's the chocolate? Where did they fit it in?
It's amazing. So is there a future in it? Is there a career in it? What will you tell students, or there's so many home bakers today who make amazing cakes. They're all food stylists in a way of speaking.
They are. So that's
It's
what
just
I
that
said.
they don't know it. And what if they want to learn more about it? What would you like to share with them?
So one is practice. Two is
Document.
document. Third is to see what somebody else is doing. There's a whole community out there. Unfortunately, I feel bad that there is no formal education on this.
You mean there's no formal education?
Means
They
you
won't
cannot
teach
go and
this
do a
in-
course anywhere in the
but
world.
Hotel management colleges.
Also, so
तो
now,
सिखाता कौन है?
so I've been interacting with them off late, and every place they said, yeah, we've got these students telling us we want to learn food selling and photography, but we don't know.
So they can't go to. They may have to end up going to a photography school.
School.
And
So-
in that one tiny elective, khana.
Khana. So that's not going to happen.
That's not going to work. Yeah.
And that guy's going to teach you the technique of camera, not the technique of food presentation. So there is no curriculum also.
So you have to only learn it through apprenticeship. That means.
And that means you have to come to some daddy who doesn't want to teach you. If I started this, I told you that I don't want to teach anybody. Right? I'm like that ustad, I have that art. I have that ego. Nobody has, and that's been our attempt back in office, that every knowledge has to be shared. It can't be held a secret. It's not the right thing. Number two is, you can be today's student wants to practice more than he wants to read. Right? So the moment you plug anything in, he says, that I can know from Google, sir. But now tell me how to do this. So we've been telling ourselves, and what we've been practicing small is, you call the guy, throw him in the pool right away. Let him splatter around a little, and then he splatters. He says, sir, I don't know this properly. Then you say, okay, let's practice it together. So practice together, and what we spoke in the earlier life, cook along or style along. So you start from first, go only, you style along. So he styles badly. You don't tell him why he is styling badly. You don't pull any bacha down because you're flowering the guy. Then you tell him, to do this, there are 6 principles I'm going to teach you.
So then you give the theory.
Then you tell him composition, color, wheel, third rule of the third, sense of design, blah, blah, and getting the food culture. And he says, chal, you do it, I'll do it. And I'll give you a story behind why I'm doing this and why I do it. How is the storytelling? Tuning a mind to what you're going to see, be. And then once he understands that, oh, this is the method to think, then let him practice it all his life, right?
Then it's a journey of mastery.
Then he'll do far better than me, even maybe in 5 months, because he understands the art.
Let me tell you something. For me being an educator and working with children and understanding a little bit about how people teach people and how children learn, what you just described there without knowing is one of the biggest ideas of teaching a skill. It's called the GRR. It's
Okay.
called the gradual release of responsibility theory.
Wow.
What happens is when there is an ustad, a teacher, or somebody who understands the craft of the skill, and there is a student who doesn't have that knowledge, craft, or skill, and he's trying to learn that, the responsibility lies solely on the teacher, on the masterman, on the master craftsman,
Yeah.
and not on the student. Now, the whole idea is in that process of learning, the master has to gradually release responsibility to the student. And the process that they use is I do, you do, we do. Sometimes I do, we do, you do.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
See, the
That's
thing
how
is,
skills get transferred.
see, also the most awesome thing is, we're not teaching them engineering. It's not that he puts two parts, or is in some making chemical, the whole thing will burst.
And there's no 3-hour written test after that.
Yes.
Exactly. Right.
So, my thing is that he's interacting with a medium and he's interacting with something which is so easy. It's so much him. It's an extension of who you are. And you give that version of you. So, if I'm talking that you are South Indian and you want to make this tasty dish and you want to make do something with idli. It doesn't need to be a foreign dish.
Start with what you have.
Start and
Start with
make
what you
that
understand.
proud. Make that proud, because like I don't know whether you've seen this chef's table.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have.
And,
Yeah, on
and
Netflix,
this chef, who an obnoxious guy, and he went to Europe and he was working in with the Italian chef. And he finally, the Italian chef came and told him, you will never be as good as I am. Because you're traveling from a foreign land, trying to get to master pasta. I am around 35 years ahead of you. My mom fed it to me from the day I was born. It's so much part of you. It can never be part of you. If you really want to win, go back to your homeland. And he shows, obviously it's a great storytelling, goes back to the Amazon and he starts working with the tribe from where he belonged. And he created his own culinary language. And he became a Michelin star restaurant. Because he understood it like nobody else understood it. Therefore, good food is available in unknown corners is because how you understand it, how you present it, how you are truthful about it today. And for every student, that fantasy, let's end with fantasy. Fantasy is gone. We leave it for sci-fi. We leave it for the reality. Even his depiction in reality. If the cookie crumbles, then if it is messy, then it is messy. Right? And that is the story. Right? And when I used to work with chefs who came from abroad and he said, we are doing a wilted spinach salad. I said, chef, how can you write wilted spinach salad? Let's talk about the poached pear in it or the red wine vinaigrette. He'll say, no. But if you cook spinach, it will wilt.
Yes.
So let's be truthful. I said, so truthful. So the stories are going to change with how our culture and our habits are going to change. The phone is going to take over. Please don't complicate your life for a culinary student, at least with the photography aspect. Exploit the technology which came with the phone. Enhance it with some post-production technique, which is already there in the phone. And if you don't know any software, there are 100 softwares telling you what to do.
Exactly. And just on a closing note, what I wanted to share was one of the things that you told me during this conversation that came up was the fact that fortunately everything is going well in this industry because there are very few of people like you. Very few people are running this industry. And because of that, there's a lot of self-regulation. And because there's a lot of self-regulation, the work that is happening, the content that you're producing, the way you are shaping how people are going to live their life, choose, make preferences,
Yep.
that is with authenticity, with integrity, with a certain intention, and it is a good natured thing. What I'm saying is that this also means that a lot of students, a lot of people, a lot of housewives, a lot of culinary professionals, or people, just anyone interested in this food science or this way of bringing things, they need to study more and they need to get into this, because if they don't, people who are not with the right intentions might enter and shape the civilization.
Yeah, I
in a way.
always feel.
Yeah.
I always feel the first people who came into industry start shaping that industry, right?
That's what they call pioneers, right?
Pioneers.
The pioneers.
And if the wrong pioneers came, some industries don't evolve or they die or they are seen
It's a
differently.
disservice.
Yeah, it's a disservice. So you have that social responsibility. We are a great culture. We are also truthful culture, as very human world of young minds. So that's the awesome part. Number two, it's very easy subject to learn. Number three, you have no idea what is going to happen, and which I didn't elaborate. There are going to be three parts of you: your creation, and showing off your creation. So you could not show off your creation earlier because there was no form to show your creation. So let's look at 10 or 15 years back. If I had to show anybody I'm a great chef, I have to be on TV. You will never get on TV. You're not that great. Right? Now, whether you're great or not great, you can be on
YouTube, yeah.
any channel. So that became easy. Number two is whether you made good or bad, but you made truthful, it can be on Insta and it can be on Facebook or any platform on a reel. That responsibility you already have. You know why? Because your brand is attached to it. So it's self-regulatory. And I'm only one propagated thought that I leave behind for any student. Make a language. Make a unified language of expression. Don't have to do this today, do that. You can do it with 400 forms of food. But the way you look and the way you dress up your food has to be an extension of who you are. And once you have that language, shoot every day and master that every day. You will find a golden style. And once you have got your fix,
That's your fingerprint.
and that is your digital fingerprint.
That's your fingerprint.
That's your fingerprint.
My request to you, Tandon sir, is to make a course.
We're already making one.
Okay.
First, we want everybody to come on Insta on, if I'm allowed,
Yes, please.
NT Food Styling.
NT
Food Styling. Keeps it simple. No? Nitin Tandon Food Styling, NT Food Styling. And we are starting with simple workshops. We are starting with a digital platform where you can access and understand. We want to meet 1 million people because we want to touch their lives. And we want not to tell them how to do things, but we want just for them to enter an alley to create their own expression. And each way you create your own personal expression is the journey. It's not about I know. It's what we can do together. So it's a very harmonious garden of expression that we're trying to create.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's a long journey. I need a minimum. I just calculated 243 more years to live.
That's remarkably precise.
It's a long journey out
But
there.
thank you so much. And on a closing note, and this time I am closing. On a closing note, you don't know who the next speaker is going to be on the Will Talks podcast. And without knowing who the next speaker is, give me a question that I could ask him or her.
So my question to anybody, everybody is what makes them click? And what is their reason to be?
What makes them click?
So everybody has, you meet this kid, he has this great magic. He's bubbling around. You meet a leader, he has this great...
Oh, laga hua hai.
Laga. So what is your reason to be? Because when you go nowhere, you have to come back home, right? And to your mind, what is that come back home?
Got it. I'm
So,
going to ask
yeah,
this
please.
to the next person.
I'll wait for the answer.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
spending time with us. It was absolute delight, absolute pleasure, and lots of learning and discovery.
Thank you so much. I hope this goes a million miles to everybody who wants to learn something about telling stories with food.
Thank you. Thank you.